Hansen of Eric Hansen Music. Today we're going to have a guest on that's a distressed mother. She's going through so much that you may find that there are times that she might maybe go into more details that might kind of lose some of her attention. It's the concern, very much the underlying concern and what's happened to her and her family very much deserves our undivided attention. And this is something that's, this is the first particular case that came to my attention where a pair of parents are trying to do the right thing for a daughter, and the system basically creeps up through social media kind of things, from Discord to even Roblox and these kind of things that access children's mind. And it ultimately culminated in a kidnapping of their children because they stood up against, they basically offered her every possibility of doing certain things once she achieves 18, which still isn't even really adulthood because the human brain doesn't mature until 25. But they basically just said no to self-mutilation harm by way of transition. Ultimately they had their child kidnapped from both of them, two loving parents. They had to flee the state to basically maintain control of the rest of their family. And these were people that literally lived just down the road from me here in Dublin, Pleasanton area. And I first learned about this story when I was sitting at my favorite Delatorre restaurant, also in Pleasanton, and just scrolling social media, and I saw this basically a meme about a Ukrainian couple that had their kid kidnapped by the state for transitioning against both parents' wishes. Prior to that, I had heard of cases where one parent, usually the mother, will weaponize, turning the son to a daughter, quote unquote, against an ex-husband to express, to take basically some underlying rage and mental illness out against, they have against their ex, to take that out on a child. So this is the case where the state of California with Bonta and all these Wiener and all this type of scumbags that infest the psychotherapy segment, all the bureaucrats in positions of power and authority can basically weaponize the CPS to take a child away and trans them against the wish of both parents. This should be chilling. If it's not, then you might have gone too far down the river of woke. Again, let's give some attention to Alexandra Lyashenko. Hello, everybody. This is Eric Hansen of Eric Hansen Music, and we have a guest on that's as I've learned recently, actually I learned some months ago about a distressed family that was being put through something rather amazing by the state of California and as part of a larger movement. So I don't mangle your name, I'll have you introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Eric, so much. It's an honor to be here to shout out about our plight and pain. I'm a Ukrainian legal immigrant, Alexandra Lyashenko, broadcasting from Florida. But the case is in California, and the horrible story started in Massachusetts.
And tell me a little bit. I had first learned about this horror story of state intervening and performing ghastly deeds against an impressionable child by way of a meme that was on social media some number of months back. And so it's really an honor for me also to have a chance to speak with you directly about your experience.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us just kind of briefly where this kind of your family story and background? As I understand, you had immigrated from Ukraine in, was it the 90s?
2007.
2007. Okay, so a much more recent arrival. And so then you have two children, and they were Um, Presumably living in California originally, or
They are 9 years apart. So my son, who is next door and also is pleading for help to be noticed, to be passed on and shared and subscribed to my Substack. I'm using this chance to introduce, it's called Ukrainian Mother's Fight for Her Daughter, where I outline inch by inch of this horror, starting from the day of her horrible removal. And then I'm giving some, prequels and midquels, and I hope there will be a happy sequel of this horror we are going through. So our story began 19 years ago in a state of Massachusetts, in Boston area, where my husband and I landed as a young family with hopes for brighter future, having lived with stories and probably DNA encrypted in our cells of 70 years of USSR, communism, propaganda, totalitarian regime, being equal, having nothing to eat, being having forced not to stand out, punitive psychiatry, something that is. Oh my God, it's around the corner. It's Mandani. It's Godwinner. It's what? What? And yes, this is it. So again, use us. Use our experience. Use our DNA. Use our not trauma, as CPS yells, but legacy, heritage, and very priceless experience of having lived and trying to maybe prevent, but alas. So we arrived legally on H-1B visa. We started building our home, our little nest. Our daughter appeared as a hyperactive, happy-go-lucky, not even a tomboy girl. We had American Doll, we had Barbie, we had Thomas the Train, and Legos. We had everything. We were bringing her up in a very multifaceted and diverse in a good meaning, multicultural, multi-language. We speak two languages fundamentally, and that's key point, because one of the allegations we called her it, which is BS. I fundamentally speak and think Russian. My husband is from west part of Ukraine, southwest. He speaks fundamentally Ukrainian. So that's BS of those twisted allegations, and we are not far from it. So she was bullied in Massachusetts in the critical first and second grade for being an inconvenient, probably ADHD student, these alphabetical things we did not know about. And instead of addressing those disorders, they just penalized her for being inconvenient, uncomfortable. I was pregnant with my son. The entire district was acting like a school mafia. They set the district, the friends, the community against us because we immediately pulled her out. I'm outlining everything in my Massachusetts chapter because there is so much pain. But she ended up with a rapid onset of puberty. Her period started at 10. I just delivered my son. We had to flee from school district to school
oh,
district because
I'm going
that
to
did not
interrupt for
offer a
just a
school
moment.
choice.
Um, there's a little bit of an audio problem on the Zoom. Let me check to see if I can address that. My apologies. Okay, let's see here.
Are we
Breaking
good?
up a little bit.
I'm sorry, let me know where I should rewind.
Yep, understood. Yep, let me just a moment.
We had some thunderstorm, but it's the aftermath. It's kind of in the back, but it was a kind of strong thunderstorm before.
Okay. All right. So what I want to try to do is kind of return to kind of more maybe just a basic sketch, and then we can kind of drill in on more of the details. I certainly understand when it's all the such pain is fresh on the mind that it's um, kind of easy to get into the details. So she was diagnosed as with hyperactive or ADHD, as they now call it. I had when I was a kid in school. I'm glad they didn't have what they have now, but back then I was given such a diagnosis as hyperactive. and it was obviously it wasn't quite as dire a situation as it is now with the
Yeah.
um, with things going quickly in a different direction. So you had ultimately, to my understanding, you had done some moving to help protect her, to kind of get a fresh start in a new district after it was becoming clear that the district wasn't being helpful for you.
So I want to make a little clarification. She wasn't diagnosed yet. Instead of doing that, they just punished her and ultimately us. And we never abandoned her. We never denied her any medical, psychiatric or mental health appointment. At some point, she was even homicidal and suicidal because she could not cope with the bullying, with the little brother being born. And understand, she was a little girl, like of 9, and the district is against you. You're like, it's not your fault, but you are like exiled, right? And we never abandoned her, so we had to run from district to district, to be stalked, to for her to be eventually even kicked out of one of the district I outline in my Massachusetts chapter on my Substack. So she was even homicidal. She was even taken to a Massachusetts, like a rehab. It was a locked up facility. It was a horror, pain in my heart. I visited her every day. She spent there 11 days for evaluation. They immediately put her on Prozac, and it made things worse. She became really aggressive in the new school district because they're like palm greases palm. They're friends, they're cronies, and they basically did the same thing as the first district. And my husband's new job forced him to travel from California, from Massachusetts to Beijing, and eventually even to Vancouver. And I just said I could not take that anymore. She was getting out of hand. At that point, I had pretty much positive experience with DCF. They would call. They would clear things up on the phone, like what's going on with her, right? Because she could like run against, banging fists on the wall. The little brother was scared. He was only 23 months old. It was a lot, and we had to sell property by property just for her sake. So I took the kids, and it was the year of 19. I sold my Kiev apartment for this brighter brighter future dream. We still believed that we could make it. And I took the kids. My parents died, in the year of 2011 and 2012, just when we received a green card and bought this home we had to sell. So I just took the kids, and I went to his area where his sister with kids lives, and we took like a bubble of fresh air. And then COVID locked us down, and she went on Discord. We knew nothing about these predators. I didn't know the word grooming. She allegedly, as far as I never eavesdrop. I always honored her needs, her privacy, and whatever I could grasp from just passing by her bedroom. It was naive, it was friendly. She allegedly played Roblox, Minecraft on Nintendo and those same name servers. Daddy said it's after Crimea was annexed and the war erupted. And he said, well, I honestly, I asked him to return to Ukraine. And he said, I can't, I would be drafted to war. And they were starving so bad in the 90s, right after the Soviet Union collapsed, that he said, no, I want to build this. I want to realize my talents. I want to have this Tesla car, this electric car this little boy never had. And boys never grow up. They just become bigger boys, but the toys remain the same. So and he found a startup remote job in San Francisco because the job feeds us. And we did not know anything. It was lockdown, it was masking. So we came back with kids, the borders reopened. We grabbed some stuff in our Boston area home. The second home we actually had to sell again for her safety and security and good school. And we went to Bay Area to rent a townhouse, but it was very expensive. And we realized that it was a transition period. And then my husband says, we're just flushing down the drain that 3,300 for 3 bedrooms in Dublin, Pleasanton area, and just we need to find a place we can maybe ultimately call our own. And he went on Zillow. He found this home, something that he never even dreamed after even the Massachusetts house. It was, the Hobbit house, the big mansion, the shed, which is ADU. That was one of the allegations that we kicked her out to live in the shed, which is 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, ADU, ADU with AC, pellet stove, internet, YouTube video. You pick whatever you want. So we went through a phone fire. It's a 2021 big Redding, California, Shasta County fire that on our Sunrise Drive, where we still have our home, which is a hostage basically because we're hiding in Florida, that made it. But 4 out of 5 homes of our neighbors gone. Like big fire out of 45 years that Redding never knew. And that's the
Oh,
year of
neat.
2021.
Wow, a lot of excitement. And during that, you mentioned Dublin, Pleasanton area. That's actually, I'm in Dublin. So I was living in Dublin here since 2005. So I guess we were neighbors for a time, which makes it especially a small world and a concerning story when people that are that just down the block from you are
Oh my
encountering.
God, I don't know how you're surviving there with the winners and all those births, woke agendas, and horrible bills that are on the table. I have no idea. But that place was nice, kind
Yep.
of, but noisy. Noisy.
Yeah.
595, 695, the highway that never falls asleep, lots of construction.
580 and 680. Yes. Yep. We're pretty much in that
585, yes,
corridor.
yes, I forgot.
Yes.
Yes, 585, yes.
Yes. So, yeah, so it's one of the, I guess it's one of the few pockets that seems somewhat tolerable in in the larger California, but boy, the politics sure go a certain way. So ultimately, at some point, you find yourself in the nice, quiet Reading kind of area, and you're like in, to where you are kind of escaping some of those concerns in your mind, at least.
There is a chapter in my Substack I call "How Red is Reading." Okay, so I urge everybody to read. I write about everything: California, Reading, Shasta County, like everything. So today I am just creating a picture on Grok about the woke mind virus because there's so much to write. So it's very dynamic, it's growing, it's evolving because the case in our life is dynamic, it's not over. So I'm writing, maybe somebody one day will make a good use of it, maybe it will become a documentary, maybe it will become a book. So okay, we are in 2021 and our daughter is around 13, 14. She blossomed in Ukraine. She didn't want any help, she didn't want any psychiatric help, mental. We just let it go. I didn't want to force her because of the painful Massachusetts experience. In Dublin she would open up, turning into a beautiful young lady, walking to Target, to gas station for some drinks and snacks. So I was like welcoming and I was smiling at that. In Reading, she was, when we recovered from the fire, she kind of immediately asked, and again she was on Discord, maybe somebody hinted, maybe somebody prompted, so she asked to be
Oh, I
tested
have to
to.
interrupt again briefly because the connection was breaking apart again on us. Sorry for that. For some reason, the connection was um, falling behind. I don't know whether it's Wi-Fi here or there or what have you. Um, I think it's back in order. So you had ultimately found yourself. I'm going to move ahead a little bit if I may, but ultimately, I've heard stories where one parent will weaponize the system against another parent and try to convert a son to a daughter and this kind of behavior. But appears to be, um, well, yours was the first story that I became aware of where both parents are being
Yeah.
basically having this done with neither of their approval. And so, to my understanding, when you settled into Reading, that's when ultimately someone got the CPS, basically weaponized the CPS against you to exploit your daughter's sudden desire to explore a different gender identity. Um,
We thought that we found peace, and she asked to be tested for, for finding an answer. Why was I bullied? So we never, like I said, we never denied any care. We rushed to the PCP, who sent a referral to a Reading psychologist, and he confirmed her for both ADHD, ODD, which right now CPS is heavily exploiting because opposition defining disorder. It's it's a blast, right? And then eventually she was also met criteria for BPD, which is an adult diagnosis for borderline. And she's a very vivid example of that. Again, there was the war eruption 2022. We immediately helped, engage in helping, finance containers with medical equipment, bringing drones. And her uh, long hair became Bob and then Butch, and then unisex name came out, and then she asked for lithium and to be seeing a psychiatrist. So we went to Mercy Medical Health Center, where we usually went for visits, and they presented us Dr. Sager, who saw us for a couple of visits in the hospital and then self-referred to this suspicious NGO. We would like really to have investigated Children's Legacy Center, an NGO, so to say, a mental health clinic for children with allegedly with traumas, where basically she started seeing my daughter 2022, 2023 till 2024 May for one-on-one. And she actually filed to CPS from that center, because none of us wanted to sign a testosterone consent page. Although how hard Sager tried to process me, even treated me for anxiety, because we lived through so much. And 2024 May, they file. June 3rd, a lady comes in her black midi dress with no court paperwork, with no badge ID, with no even police. And my daughter goes. She is already brainwashed, indoctrinated. My daughter goes. Finally, my husband, who does an extremely well talking on the porch, he says, I want to effing see the goddamn paperwork. And she says, no, we don't have to have paperwork. Like showing that they're basically, all in. And when he finally forced her to call the cops, to document everything, and she calls 911, 8 cops come to pick up one single child, and after that, the crucifixion with two supervisors in visits, 1 hour weekly. Even criminals receive more. Slandering, tons of dirt, discrimination, calling us culturally unfit to raise her, rooming her with a boy. She was 15-year-old girl identifying as male, and I provided all those emails on my Substack and everywhere I could. She got basically raped. She got prescribed birth control. She had a pregnancy test taken 9 months later. She had a visit to a female sexual health clinic, whatever. We spent 180K for only 3 attorneys who heavily betrayed us, and now they're retaliating upon us. I filed against the two to bar. uh, we were forced out of our home. The home is like a pawn, a hostage. The county, five supervisors are against us. They know they don't want to do anything. They set entire community against us. Moms for Liberty Shasta chapter never helped us. Were really rude and dismissive, sending gossips, promoting whatever. Domestic violence restraining orders were filed allegedly by our daughter with clearly forged signatures. Emancipation request that was denied by Judge Bigelow. Her name is Bigelow. She granted the hearing. Seeing all that, and discovery, seeing that they also wanted my son, I took him and we fled into nowhere. August 29th, fired all 3 attorneys, went public. We could not take that slander, those lies anymore. Filed pro se December 5th or something. And right now I'm all in. I am uniting with other parents because there are no parental rights. There is no constitution. Judge Bigelow draws and writes everything, whatever she wants, she delays. There is no due process. There is just a bacchanalia, circus, and kangaroo court where parents are kept mom for 6 months. The trial, even with the most expensive, coolest attorneys out of state, it's just a kangaroo, a stage thing when the lawyers work with the judge, and you find out when they yell at you, when they blackmail you, when they threaten you, and it's not okay. There is no constitution. There is no First Amendment. There is the child is alienated, is raped, is medicalized. Her highest dose of Zoloft was canceled cold turkey. The happy CPS, not even a doctor but nurse practitioner, does mingles whatever she wants to do. They only do that for zombieing her, for testifying and suborn perjury against us. We are legal immigrants. We are naturalized US citizens. We are just being wiped, the horrible fat feet against us. We see no constitution, no justice, no due process, no nothing. We did not come for this. We did not come for this.
Goodness. So, so yeah, so basically the the doctor or the person serving a role as a doctor
Yeah.
was all too eager to off-ramp her into the transition. And I have somebody that I know very personally that went to see a counselor or a therapist, and the next thing you know, that's their first go-to is to check to see if you're in the wrong body.
Oh
And
my God,
so
yes.
it's like a you know, when Obama took office, there was like three or four maybe mutilation mills in the country where they basically treat children that are born in the incorrect body, which makes no sense by science, nature,
No.
or any religion known to man, other than the current contemporary religion that puts rainbow flags in every classroom,
Right?
hangs them in front of the school. And it's still frustrating to me at the high school where, you know, where one of my kids attended, they have that flag up, and it just like,
Yeah.
and the one with, you know, the rainbow flag was basically bad enough. The one with the triangles is literally promoting pedophilia. And
Yes.
when I
We
was
are.
a young lad, I learned that putting any thoughts in the head of a minor child concerning sexuality was molestation.
I believe
And
so. I
now
believe so.
and so that was, you could be registered as a sex offender and basically thrown away back then in the 90s. And then later in life, I hear about gender theory, which I
Yeah.
used to think of as a joke. It's like, gee, if I want to go learn about what's in my pants, I can go to a college course. And so it on the surface just seemed just so absurd, but also it didn't seem, I wasn't at all aware of just how the depth of depravity and what the
Yes.
agenda was behind it. And so
Yes.
they taught a whole generation this ridiculous religion that you're born, and then a doctor assigns a gender at birth, and then you have to wait till your third grade teacher tells you what gender you really are, and then go through
Oh my
whatever
God.
process.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like such a wild cult, and it's so
It's a
um,
cult.
deranged. But it's also now that after however many years of abomination, we now have over 60 mutilation centers in the country. And they were just running this whole complex or this whole process.
Yes.
So it looks like we might need to do a part two if that seems acceptable. We can continue a little bit later today, but my Zoom's telling me I'm going past the limit because I have a new Zoom account.
We have 9 minutes, so I should be done.
Oh,
I
excellent.
don't want to overload anybody. I just want to tell you that I'm connected to a lot of public detransitioners, and you have no idea what they're going through, especially those who, detransitioned, and the horrible aftermath effects, impacting their body. It's I urge everybody to read my Substack because I wrote about eugenics. I wrote about the cult. I wrote about everything. I take a very in-depth approach. So please, whatever can trigger you when listening to me. I am not trusting any lawyer anymore. We parents have had enough, and I'm uniting every parent right now because even Jen Speck that we went to in DC in May in March, I saw that parents are not mentioned. They are focusing on a lot of demagoguery and a lot of just after. But I'm here to prevent, and I'm basically am being and my husband we being have been crucified for being a good smart persons of and having learned a history lesson well. So we never were tricked or coerced like other parents, and I give credit to them. They're good parents, but it's not okay to be crucified for something that a normal parent would do. Prevention. And when my daughter started to separate me and daddy in April, or like in beginning of May, before she was removed, she tried to talk separately to both of us, different times, different places. She cried these crocodile tears. You could see they're so artificial. She was repeating these mantras, these playbook mantras, just something that you just mentioned. Maybe I was not lucky enough, but this is just bullshit, right? So as normal parents, we said, baby, we didn't say, no, no, we are not signing it. We say, baby, how about we just think about your career? We had such a Napoleonic plans for the year of 2024 to find your job, a volunteer job I found last year. It was so good to drive her to this place where she's such a bird and animal lover, to take care of some, like chickens and some animals. And I have those pictures there. They're painful to watch, but I have nothing to reprimand myself because I said, let's focus on receiving a driver's license, on driver's school. And then probably she told that to Sager, and Sager had dollars in her eyes because guess what? The following day she was taken. Sager sent a referral to a gender care clinic in Stonewall Alliance in Chico, California. So it's as clear as day. I'm just sending this message. We had enough. We should stop fearing. We should stop being on our knees. There is this mom from Sacramento. She's like a homeless mom. She's hiding because the police is retaliating upon her. Her daughter is, I believe, 21. They're already killing her medically. They're already putting her, she's dying in a hospital. And this mom, I cannot pronounce her name. She calls me and I'm connecting and coordinating her with other influencers and good people who are also fighting. And she just hides, and she's afraid. She says, I cannot even leave because I feel my daughter still needs me. But she's filed the DVs and TROs against her. So I'm uniting all these parents, and hopefully through your megaphone we will be sounding stronger, that we don't need lawyers to speak for us. Yes, we are gagged. Yes, we are shut up and silenced. No, we are still fundamentally the most important people in our children's lives. So, with this, I want to conclude that we need to reclaim our parental rights because all this is aimed upon destructing the family institute.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
should
Yeah, I
say
mean,
enough.
yeah, erosion of family is like a long,
Yes.
long play by the Marxists, but it's they sure do take it to extreme levels. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, and just like goes from, just goes from challenging the buai mama buai papa of the Cultural Revolution under Mao
Oh my God,
into
yes.
this unbelievable thing where children are convinced that gender and sex is a decision, and then they're not even old enough presumably to have a first legitimate
No,
experience in either body,
exactly.
and then they're being sent to the mutilation mills to have it fixed. The other thing that people don't seem to realize, I mean, I deem this the greatest atrocity in recorded human history. And there's nothing that compares to it. I used to think about the Forbidden City and how, that this one's a good metaphor for bathroom science. Basically, if you have one of those
Yes.
things, you don't go in the Forbidden City. That's what the ladies' room and private spaces should be
Mm,
considered.
yes.
Um, but nonetheless, here we are with this unbelievable atrocity unfolding. And then you still have these literally parents, and some are like in their old age, that embrace this nonsense talking about
Yes.
protect
Yes.
trans kids. And it's like,
No.
what are you talking
No.
about? How about protect children from this
Yes.
perversion?
Yes.
And it's it's worse than what the most of the public knows about Epstein, because
Yes.
it's not just abusing children that might be survive it. It's converting them permanently, permanent
Yes.
damage,
Yes.
to their in the
Irreversible.
most
Yes.
personal way possible with their most personal parts, to basically just begin this process of chemical adjustments, which
Castration and sterilization. Yes.
the other thing about it is that you have these you now have this new form of the weaponized lunacy. So they basically exploit autistic and otherwise disadvantaged kids of different forms that have some
Yes.
problems into
Yes.
this trans culture. And then they give them the wrong hormones. And then talk about hormonal rage, as I often point out when you have these school events where these disgruntled transitioning people
Yeah.
go in
Yeah.
and do extreme violence, primarily targeting Christians. Well, the point is that testosterone is a dangerous drug, especially in women,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and estrogen is a very dangerous drug,
And
especially in men. So when you basically amp up and twist their whole hormonal balance, and then anyone's going to be surprised for them to go hormonal on everyone. So
I'm fighting for not only my daughter, but everybody's daughter and son innocence. And my daughter probably did not even know what the first kiss means. She probably never received in a first bouquet of flowers, something which is so sacred. I'm having goosebumps as I'm speaking it. We brought her up on the best literature of the world literature, and look what they done. And even recovering from this dirt and ocean of suborn perjury that I'm receiving and I'm reading, and she becoming their megaphone and speaking this slander and libel. I'm still loving her, and I'm cherishing every moment we had. So I'm hopeful that she will listen to this, and I will never stop. I will never stop fighting. It's the time to wake up. And as some mom from Montana, their case was very loud. They were interviewed by Jordan Peterson in his good health.
yeah,
Today is ours. Tomorrow can be yours. So we have to wake up, parents, and unite with me. Please go back, go to my Ukrainian mother's fight for her daughter. Through yourself, I can be contacted, because, you can share, or I can share my um, X is so hard to say my name, but Ukrainian Mother's Fight is very easy. We should call it a day. We
yep,
we 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 cannot take this anymore, because they are coming after our children, and there are no someone else's children. There are no your daughter or my daughter. There's kids, and kids, as Soviet Union used to call them, are flowers of life. Even Stalin did not do this. Kids were not. You did not used to be kidnapped. We did not have it. We should stop this.
yep. Well, I want to thank you, Alexandra Leoshenko. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, you're good.
Um,
You're good, Eric.
I
Absolutely.
greatly appreciate your coming on, and we with your perhaps we can do a part two. Is
We
there
can.
a
Yes.
resource that you want to leave in the on the screen or in the for people to go to?
Well, my Substack, Ukrainian Mother's Fight for Her Daughter.
Okay, well, and I'll put that up on screen. Greatly appreciate again, and we'll get things going.
Thank you, my friend. We can always meet again. And please
Yep,
share, everybody. I'm fighting for your children as well. God
yep.
bless. God
Oh,
bless your heart.
absolutely.
God bless
Greatly
your
appreciate
families.
you. All right.